He did SIP for 24 years.
Why you should be going for a financial advisor.
Today in all of India, you barely have some 500, 600 odd practicing advisors.
You were the first one to go and apply for a RIA license.
Primary thing we did was a lot of financial planning.
Why do you need a 100 crore?
I wanted to be a financial planner.
November 2021, just before the US market started crashing, at that point in time, she had Nvidia stocks worth 200 crores. 200 crores.
So risk also means that positive 30 and negative 30. वो negative 30 को वो लोग को दिखता नहीं है. It is never
जब तक खुद ने
visible.
फटका नहीं खाया हो.
So why you also started as a financial advisor? Before we move ahead, just a disclaimer from our side. Whatever you see in the podcast henceforth is only for educational purposes. This is not at all an investment advice. Do not take this or whatever our guests are saying as an investment advice. If you have any investment related queries, please consult a registered financial advisor. Thank you. Hello everyone. Once again, welcome back to Spring Money's channel. Today we have a very interesting guest list here, and we are trying out a very interesting format which we are calling as a financial compass, where we have gotten three illustrious registered investment advisors in front of us who are going to unfold a lot of your questions, lot of their own journeys, how they have addressed so many questions, so many financial lives in their entire career, and we are bringing this to you. So definitely, let me welcome you first, starting with Kavita. Hi Kavita, good morning. And so Kavita comes from Probitus Wealth, and she specializes into advising professionals. Most of them are from a film fraternity. So that's an interesting take on our podcast for the first time. We also have Rahul. Hi Rahul.
Hi.
Rahul comes from Advent Financials. And Rahul has a very interesting take on how he helps, again, all the professionals, but especially how he has a different take on how to manage finances if you are a couple, how finances can actually make your couple goals really beautiful. And then, but definitely, we have Vineet. Vineet comes from Prudeno Wealth. He is from Pune, and especially focuses on IT professionals, and has a very interesting analogy how he helps, called as Sarthi, someone what we have seen from Mahabharata. Okay, so welcome all, and thanks
Thank you, Nikhil.
again
Thank you.
for being here. I think you both have traveled from Mumbai, so first of all, thank you for that. Before starting, and I will go again, you can pick up the order, but I think we'll start with a very big question: why? And just anecdotal evidence. Today, I think we have around 6 crore investors into the mutual fund industry. Although we all know that it is just a minuscule start of the entire financial paradigm shift in India. But even as a statistically, only 1% of them are going to the advisors. And so I think it's a fantastic thing. We have all the three advisors who have helped so many people. So the real question is definitely a why from the audience. Like, why should I go for a financial advisor like you? And I think would love to understand why you also started as a financial advisor, and that we can cover. Maybe Vineet, you can start. Yeah.
Sure. First of all, Nikhil, thank you so much for having me here. So my take on why you should be going for a financial advisor is like you're asking someone who does not have any goal in life. For example, you take any sports person, right? Why do they need a coach, right? It's not that they don't know how to play, but there has to be someone externally who should point where they are going wrong, and someone who can make them stay disciplined, and that's what a coach does. And after it's actually a victory of the entire team in case of clients, their financial life, but a lot of this credit goes to the person who is actually guiding them, helping them crystallize things, helping them make right decisions without the emotions being in it. And that's I feel that you need to have a coach in any area of your life, whether it is your wealth or health or any other things.
Surely, but again, just to go deeper, definitely as a audience, I understand, or as a curious mind, I would understand why I should go for a financial advisor.
Hmm.
But I'm very sure when you started as a financial advisor, can you just touch a bit upon why you started as a financial advisor also?
So it all happened accidentally. I never planned to come into this profession. When I started my career, I was into sales of credit cards, where I was selling liabilities to people, and I was happy doing that for about 3.5 years of my initial career. And it accidentally happened that I got exposed to insurance sector, and then someone told me that you're good in selling, so you should think about selling insurance. That was back in 2006. When I came into selling insurance, I liked the concept. I had zero idea about what insurance is, how it works. I knew that it is some form of coverage, but how does it work? What are ULIPs? What are endowment plans? I had zero idea. So with training, I understood those things. And between 2006 till 2008, ULIPs were very, very popular. And every insurance company used to sell ULIPs, and they had these beautiful illustrations where you just put some magical number and it used to give some unbelievable outcome, like, which used to run into 100 crores. So I did that for 2 years without having much of understanding. And then 2008 happened. And a lot of the clients to whom I had recommended ULIPs, their portfolio crashed, right? And I still remember in 2007, when the market was at the peak, that point in time, the average return was about 35-40%. So the way I used to pitch the client is 35-40%. If even if you are not able to make, even if you make 20-25% for the next 20 years, is going to create humongous amount of wealth, even with 25,000 rupees of annual premium. So that was the level of illiteracy, if I have to say. And 2008 happened, and then I thought that there is something wrong somewhere. Either I've not been told what the truth is, or maybe I need to do something about it. And that's where I got more curious. I saw what all things can help me in building my knowledge, and I came through CFP as a program, and that's how that generated interest. And then I started pursuing that as a hobby of helping people make informed decisions, because 2006 2008, it was at least personally, it was not the right way of doing things. And then and rest is history. Yeah.
No, I think very interestingly, I mean, looks like 2008 has created a lot of such kind of good phenomenons. One was crisis, but at the same time, it is nice to see you there. But I think at the same time, moving on to from him to you, I think he has a pretty good concept of a coach, wherein every good player, even Sachin Tendulkar, I think needs a coach even today. And that's a fantastic way to put it. But I think very interestingly, what we understood about you is you are the first one to go and apply for a RIA license. And that is a very big commitment, I'm very sure. So what's your why? Maybe we can start with that, and why you think that customers should have a financial advisor.
So my why goes a long back. I joined a bank first thing in my career after I finished my studies in management. And that's when I learned exactly what I don't want to do, which is selling investments to people. So this was way back in 2003, when the stock markets were going to rally and the bond markets were on their way down, but bonds were what was giving us the most commissions. Okay, bond funds. And I worked with a wealth team of a bank, and just you can imagine the pressure to sell only bond investments. Now, having had a background in finance, having had a background in financial planning, one of my internships was in financial planning. It was completely a new concept. If you spoke about financial planning in 2002 3, nobody would know about it. But I had fallen in love with it because this was my project as an intern in management school, and I was very clear that I want to pursue it. And when I got done with my selling job with the bank, I joined a wealth outfit which had very, very customer centric policies. And these guys, you would know them today as Parag Parekh EMC. They were earlier wealth managers, and they ran a PMS. And I worked 8 years with them. And the primary thing we did was a lot of financial planning. Okay. And we didn't do just financial planning for people who came and said, we want to make a financial plan. We were doing this for everybody, anybody who would come in. What I saw was people had too many things, too many assets spread across, too many wealth managers. They had no idea what is doing what, how each is performing. And I'm not talking about super HNIs. These are regular guys with normal portfolios, middle class families. Somebody has put something in an insurance policy, something is in a PPF, EPF, in mutual funds, stocks leke rakhe hain, and they're just all over the place. So the sense of knowing what is where, knowing an IRR on your portfolio level. Even today, if I ask people, I'm 100% sure 9 out of 10 won't be able to tell me what even XIRR is. Leave alone tell me what it is on their portfolio. So I realized there is a gap, and not just for middle class, but for the wealthy families also, that they need to have somebody who puts things together and gives them a bird's eye view on their assets, gives them an idea on asset allocation, right? And this gap I had sensed long back, even before I started as a advisor, a registered advisor. So in 2012, I took a break because I was going a family way. But fortunately for me, my clients stuck around. And in 2013, in fact, I was telling Rahul on our way here that the day I received my first check is the day SEBI announced its regulations in Feb of 2013.
Okay.
And I am holding the check in my hand and SEBI saying, get registered. So I said, okay, I must get registered if that's what it takes to be a fee-based advisor. But in my head, it was very clear. Whatever we do will be fee-based only. And that was the beginning of the journey. Why should clients pay me? It's like saying, why do they pay, like he said, a coach? Why would you pay a school? Why do you pay a doctor? Why do you pay a lawyer? There is a service that is being offered. There is advice being given. And we are professionals with experience, and we are working as fiduciaries, which means that I work for my clients. And that's a huge thing in this industry. Today, in all of India, you barely have some 500, 600 odd practicing advisors. So, having someone like that in your life is a short way of knowing that you're well placed with your
you're
money.
well taken care of,
Yes.
at least in the financial matters.
Yes.
No, absolutely. I think rightly said. And moving on to Rahul, I think 2008 crisis, then somebody came from banking, and now moving on to you,
Sure.
who is slightly has a different take on all of these things and comes with a very emotional angle towards it, how you advised your typical clients. But in that, definitely first explain why you started as an individual, and at the same time I'm very sure your clients would have also understood that why are they coming to you, and maybe you can pick and choose from that and tell to everyone that why you believe that what is a different take on why everyone should ideally have a financial advisor.
Okay. So, firstly, Nikhil, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to talk to you again. My journey goes way back. I passed out my MBA in 2001. And my plan always for my career was that I'll probably work for a few years and then start something of my own. And during my MBA days, ironically, I was never very keen in finance, right? I never thought that I'd end up being in the financial sector. I was very keen on getting into advertising or marketing or something of that sort. I ended up doing a dual specialization in marketing and finance. And what happened is that the campus placements that happened, because the world was just coming out of the Y2K bug. So the placements were not just happening, right? And I just did not want to do a job for the sake of it. I ended up doing a very brief job, intern, whatever you want to call it, with a Dabur Group startup at that time. It was into group health insurance solutions. Worked for a bit, and then as life would have it, I had to move back to Calcutta, which is my birth city, because of family reasons. And Calcutta again was typically old money kind of market. You had these old industries and not exactly very labor friendly policies and all of that, right? So the industry sector was not exactly very vibrant there. So just thinking that, what do I want to do? I just saw a huge scope in financial services as a industry that could flourish in India. And when I say that, I mean more from a professional service-led angle. It was exactly the time when the insurance sector also opened up. It was privatized, right? And because my dad was from an insurance background, general insurance background, that is, I thought of, and I was not interested in that actually. So I thought of, pursuing more on the life insurance side of things. And that's where I took up agencies of 4 companies in the names of different family members. with the idea that, I do not want to push a product of a single company, but rather kind of, based on the customer requirements and my interpretation of the same, offer a more balanced and a appropriate solution. So did that for 2-3 years, and that's my intrinsic nature. I tend to get bored and saturated very fast. Uh, then I took up mutual funds, right? Was lucky to have a good mentor at that point of time. We talked about sharp ratios and asset allocation and those kind of things way back. I'm talking about 2003, 2004, right? Did that and started off with the mutual fund journey, formed a company at that point of time uh, to kind of go out in the market and say that, okay, we are not like the other people in the sense that, kickbacks were rampant in the market, right? I mean, to get business, you have to put money on the table.
I think they are
And I was,
still.
and I was very clear that I did not want to do that, right? So was a very difficult phase, to be very honest, because I was just very early in my career, and you wanted to make it big, right? I mean, the industry, the way it was structured at that point of time, was obviously different on commissions. The regulations are not where it are today, right? There was no ceiling on the commissions and so on and so forth. And there was this phase of, where the close-ended funds were sold very, very aggressively for commissions as high as 7-8%, right? And to be able to leave that, right, with the belief that, you wanted to do something that you genuinely believe in, which is doing right by the customer, took a lot. The tipping point happened, like in case of Vinita as well, was the 2008 crisis, when people started seeing some merit and some value in what I had been talking prior to then. And I think from there, I think things did take off, and gradually things moved on. 2013, as Kavita said, the regulations came into India. And again, I thought then that was a natural progression. And I also saw that this was a segment which would kind of flourish, right? Signed up for that. Subsequently, again, I kind of got bored. Okay, so I was not enjoying just doing a transactional nature of business in terms of just advising a mutual fund or insurance XYZ. So I thought of getting into more of the financial planning side of things and combining that with that life-centric approach. So I enrolled for a program from the Kinder Institute, which is the life planning program. And I think the perspective changed because once I started working with a few clients on that, I think the quality of the conversations shifted dramatically, right? Because at the surface level, when you talk about goals, I mean, if you ask a random person, right, what are your goals? That tends to be the question. You are taken aback because no one is prepared. No one has done that level of introspection about what you truly want, and that is where I could see the transformative power of financial planning. And it's been 10 years now, so that's been the focus. That my planning is my practice is a financial planning first kind of a practice, and it's telling Kavita on the way again that this line I always say that before we get into numbers, let's talk about what truly matters to you, right? We can come to the money later. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So it was not exactly a aha moment that I had that okay, I wanted to be a financial planner, but I think it kind of just evolved along the way. And today, as I look back on the past 10 years, I think the greatest satisfaction is that uh, it's both a sense of achievement and I should say a responsibility, because financial planning truly has the power to transform lives, right?
Absolutely.
And therefore, I think it's not something that you can just do in the passing, right? I hope I answered the question. Sorry if it was a very long answer to your question.
No, I think it is a very interesting way. I mean, to put it that, of course, she, I think, brought in the fiduciary angle. You brought in the entire trust and the responsibility angle, because I think from a customer standpoint also, all of you guys, stand responsible for it. I don't know any other profession, I think, where as a customer, I feel that somebody is responsible for an aspect of my life, which is finance, which is very critical nowadays. Surely. But I think just to double click on that, and you anyway started with that when you say that you are responsible, when you feel that you are responsible and maybe a fiduciary, you're planning for all our futures. Uh, what's a typical persona or what's a typical customer segment that you attract to or you service, and how do you manage their emotions? How do you go about this journey? Because if I want to elaborate on this, especially from someone who is, let's say, my age, who is 35, I'm married, and everybody wants 100 crore, right? I haven't met anybody who does not want 100 crore. And in the same situation, there is a reel which is in everybody's phone now, who is saying that there is a clear cut path for the 100 crore. But on the contrary, you guys come and say that you ask a very fundamental question, that asking why do you need a 100 crore. And I think it's exceptionally challenging, surely, as you said, that nobody knows why they need 100 crore. So how do you go about those conversations? And maybe we can start with you, Rahul, that how do you go about those conversations with especially couples or singles, and then definitely coming to you and you. Absolutely.
Sure. So I think, as I said, I did this program from the Kind Institute of Life Planning, which took me to becoming a registered life planner. So they have this entire process, right, which is a process of structured inquiry, and then asking the clients to do certain reflective exercises, right? So that kind of brings out a lot of things. Normally, what happens in the regular pace of our lives that we lead, right? We rarely have the time to actually pause and think, right? We're all constantly in survival mode. So I think conversations like this help you to kind of slow down, right? And to borrow it from you, double click on what truly matters. So I think, yeah, so it's a process of structured inquiry, and I typically do this over a series of 2-3 meetings, wherein we first start with uncovering, all that your journey so far in your life, what were your memories growing up as a child, and those kind of things, right? Then moving on, using the first meeting that you've had with the client, combined with the what the client has written in those reflection exercises, right? You combine that to paint a vision of the ideal life which the client would want, right? And at this point, we're not talking about money per se, that if money was not a concern, how would you lead your life, right? The idea is to kind of bring out what truly matters to you. And the encouragement throughout the entire process is to kind of keep on, because the default mindset is to go back to the money, right? So you keep on encouraging the client to not think about the money, that we'll deal with it at later, right? So you paint that vision and you see if it resonates with the client, right? Subsequently, you come to kind of dealing with the obstacles, that what are the obstacles that are actually getting in the way. I think it might help to add is that I think discussed this in the earlier session as well. Rarely have I found, right, the most deeply cherished thing to be a material thing. Ultimately, it boils down to not being able to spend enough time with my kids, not being able to watch them grow up, spending time with family, taking care of aging parents, and those kind of things. Yeah. It's never about buying that next fancy car or that next 10 crore flat or whatever it is. It is never about that, right?
Very interesting, I think, because I was not thinking even about car. I was thinking about a jet, which nowadays Instagram is telling me that you can buy a jet also. I mean, but very, I think, nicely put in that if you can dig deeper, you might find the basic human emotions to be taken care of.
Correct.
And I think moving on to you, where you are already, I think some of your clients are already film fraternities who have maybe achieved some bit of financial freedom in their life. But I'm very sure they might have similar insecurities, or they might have similar feelings about their own finances. So how do you tackle them, or how do you advise people in that segment also?
So most of the professionals I deal with have, see, unlike a salaried person, professionals don't get fixed income every month. So the way we have to plan their finances is very different. And how do we, a lot of what he has said in a structured manner, we anyways do, because these things are very important. But I must point to one thing here. Not all investors can become clients to RIAs. I'm just letting you know this, because when you are set, you have to set your mind to a structure in order to, you've enabled that structure, and then you come to an RIA, then you probably are on your way to financial wellness. But most people don't come to us with that structure in mind. Am I right? So what they do come to us with is स्टॉक टिप्स मिलेगा, आप स्टॉक्स मैनेज करते हैं, आप ट्रेडिंग करेगा, ऐसा. So this is something we do get queries, and they want instant answers, okay, because this is an age of insta answers from Instagram. They see people giving 5 stocks जो हो गए मल्टी बैगर्स, 5 साल में 5 गुना, 1 2 3 4 5, okay. So and मतलब आपकी तो लाइफ सेट हो गई. नाउ फ्रॉम देयर आई एम टेलिंग यू कि आपको 12% मिलेगा, एंड दे डोंट लाइक दैट आंसर, राइट? सो देयर इज अ माइंडसेट विच पीपल ऑलरेडी मस्ट हैव or are ready to build in, so that they can become our clients. This is the truth. Okay, so but coming back to how I do it is because professionals do not have regular income, it's very important for them to have a lot more conservativeness in their portfolios as compared to people who have a longer working life, and also income that comes in on a regular basis. So the management of their money, the insurances that they need to take are very different. The way they plan their estates, succession planning, these are very important aspects for them.
Absolutely.
Okay, these guys, while they are very successful, are also very emotional people. They have some goals with their money. It could be for their families, it could be for charities, etc. So they need guidance and help in those matters as well. So it's a little different from your typical financial planning. It's a more complex structure, uh, because of the way they come from, the backgrounds they
Background.
come from. The longevity of their careers is also a problem because they don't work for, because
Yeah.
what you get fame is very feeble, you,
Yeah.
it's not a permanent thing, and so is the money. So sometimes it's very, we hear of all the Khans and the Kapoors who are rich, but for most of these smaller, the next level actors, they are very conscious of the fact they've come from backgrounds where they've seen a lot of strife.
Yeah.
So they kind of they're very property focused,
Focused.
because that gives them stability. So it's very hard for me to also and give them the confidence that a financial
Asset.
portfolio or financial assets are equally important. And over a period of time, they build that trust, and they know the risk, they know the facts of the case.
Absolutely.
They know that how equity markets can function. We do a proper asset allocation. So now my primary focus has always been to have an informed investor. The more you share with them, the more knowledgeable they are, the stronger they are, and then they become better clients to you.
Yeah.
Right. So this has been always my goal. Everything that I talk to them, I break it down into simpler concepts so that they
They
understand.
understand.
Most importantly, I explain risk,
Hmm.
which is never spoken about, liquidity, which is very important for
Very
them,
important.
taxation, again a very important aspect, because
Yeah.
most of them fall in the highest tax brackets, and surcharges apply and stuff like that. So we have to be very cognizant of the tax impact of most of our investments. So this is where we manage the money for professionals.
Okay. No, I think beautifully said. I think one thing is, as you rightly said, it is that you build their mindset. I mean, as an investor, also they have to build that mindset from maybe that uncertainty to taking to that certainty, or they need that confidence. And I think just to build on that mindset thing with you Vineet, while we keep talking about this Sarthi concept that you have very beautifully, in my opinion, wherein it's all about mindset, right? I mean, as we all say, that Krishna actually did not lift a finger in the entire Mahabharata, but if you genuinely see his concept, that you always need that guide or a light, and maybe how you implement that in your practice. Maybe you can share that more. Yeah.
Sure. So my practice is more focused on people who are from the IT industry. Almost 100% of my clients are people who come from IT background. And in today's world, with the advent of AI, their job is very uncertain. Most of them do not have a visibility beyond 5 years, max 10 years, and because of that, it becomes very important for them to have a sound financial plan, and that's where we are helping them to get. Because see, thinking one thing and implementing it is a very different thing. Everyone wants to retire, everyone wants to have financial freedom, everyone wants to have the best of their life, but when it comes to actually taking when it comes to the time of taking actual actions, that's when a lot of people falter, or they don't have the discipline to continue beyond a certain point in time. And specifically in today's world where there is a lot of distractions, and if you talk about tech industry, where people are generally smarter, and they have access to information, and they understand also to quite a bit as compared to people who are from the other industry. So they also sometimes get a notion that they know things, they can manage things on their own. And this DIY kind of a concept is something that you will see typically a tech person
Yeah.
mostly thinking that they can manage it themselves. But what they fail to understand is that the emotions are never in their control, right? And many a times people who have been doing this on their own, they come to us and they say that, I know things, but I I'm lacking that discipline. I'm lacking that will to continue certain things, even if I know that it's the way to do things. Uh, there was an interesting prospect who had come to me a few weeks back. He's a CFA charter holder himself.
Hmm.
Worked in the US for more than 10 years. He's a CFO of a IT company,
Wow.
right? He understands things, and he has relocated back to India. And then he says, while I know all of these things, but what I need is discipline. What I need is the right guidance.
Absolutely.
What I need someone to tell me is this is not the way you should be doing this. So that is the kind of uh, intervention that this particular client is looking at. And same is the case with many of them, where we are helping them to ensure that their money is getting managed in a better way. They are taking care of their current as well as the future life. They are ensuring that their liabilities are taken care. And for many of them, we are helping them to touch that line by the age of 50, 55, which is again aspirational for them.
Absolutely.
In today's world. Having that satisfaction, or having that thought in mind that I have the required amount of money to take care of the next 30, 40 years, where my liabilities are taken care, my children's education is taken care. So all of these things matter a lot to them. And that will only come when someone like us give them an assurance where we have a full picture.
Yeah.
And it's only possible when you work with a financial planner or an advisor who has access to all aspects of a financial life. If you work with someone who's only a product distributor, he'll only have a very, very limited knowledge. And that's what differentiates us from the rest, the community that we belong to.
No, I think you beautifully touched upon, and it's very interesting to see that a CFO. I mean, most of the people always think because they have the access to the information, they sometimes mistake it for a knowledge, and then sometimes mistake it for an insight also, because even insight comes lot after the knowledge. I mean, but this is beautifully said that a CFO of a company also and understands that for managing his personal finances, he needs a help. He might be expert at managing his own company thing, but I think just to again double click on the same phenomena, you do a very customer first focused approach, right? When you said, as you rightly said, that you're focused on a customer, you try to take out a emotion away from that and look at it at a holistic picture.
Yeah.
I'm very sure you must have experienced some of these delight experiences also with your customers.
Yeah.
So, would you like to share some of them and say that what people like me can learn from them? That what can we do? Because many a times it is always good that we understand that what is a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, all this sounds thoda technical, but if you can tell me, not like I want to buy a jet, that's okay. That may not be a possibility. But I think having that confidence, having that relaxed life, having that retirement at 50, all of those experiences definitely help people like us to choose one of you. I mean, maybe we'll start with you, Vineet. Yeah.
Sure. So there have been a lot of success stories, Nikhil, in the past 5 years, because we have been in this profession full time for the last 10 years. In the last 5 years, we have seen many people actually crossing the line where they have enough money to, call it a day and take care of their passion, hobbies, spending time with family. So there have been a lot of success stories. More peculiarly, I'll talk about a real life example of one of the client who came to us in 2019. At that point in time, the husband was around 40, almost 40, and wife was about 35, 36. And then they had a very clear vision that, they want to retire at the age of 50.
Gotcha.
Okay, both of them were working well. The husband was working in a well-reputed bank. Wife was working in a good MNC. And so they had a very clear-cut objective that 50 is what we want to achieve. And they were willing to do what it takes. Okay. In 2024 January, in December, we had a conversation. I told that one of them can leave the job.
Wow.
Right.
Within 5 years.
So just one day before, the person was about to kind of put the resignation. She came on a Sunday to meet and have that final assurance that, do I really do this? Am I covered? Am I covered? So I gave that assurance. And then, she went on and, she resigned, and then she did what she did. And then husband was working. Again, I said that you have to continue working till the age of 50, and then we said that these are the things that we'll have to kind of look at from that perspective. And then just few weeks back, husband is going to turn 45 and they have achieved financial freedom.
Wow.
So that decision, I mean, the conversation has given him the confidence that he can go ahead and press that button. And now they are looking forward to their next stage of life where both of them are
Absolutely.
still young.
Hmm.
They want to pursue certain things, and there are many such success stories. There's also a success story where one of the big families' personal pilot who used to fly their charter, he retired at the age of 45 because he was bored of renewing his license every year as a pilot. So he said, I don't want to study to give those exams and have those tests and everything. So there have been numerous things. So that confidence can only come when you see those numbers in entirety. It cannot be a very, very silo kind of a decision making. And when someone who is managing your entire wealth gives you that confidence, so it's at a very different level, because you're not only talking about achieving that, you're also talking about the next 30, 40 years, how are you going to manage with the amount that is there, right?
Absolutely.
Because in the next 30, 40 years, there are going to be so many things which no one has seen, right? There are going to be a lot of market downturns, a lot of geopolitical changes, and so many things. But that assurance is actually something that gives a lot of confidence to the client to take that decision. That's what I'm really proud about, getting that change, giving that power to the client to, take that decision.
No, this is just adding to his
You
client
start with
story,
that,
success stories.
exactly.
And this is a story who's of a person who I wasn't even in touch with for years. So back in 2003, I joined the wealth outfit, right? And we started doing financial planning for investors. And we did a session for a large oil company, a public PSU. And we did kind of, touched on retirement planning and stuff like that. And we said we'll do free financial plan. Tabhi allowed tha. So we did free planning for a set of bunch of people. Okay, one time exercise. Unko fir bola ki you can do these SIPs, etc. And many of those SIPs were really long term in nature, right? We created the portfolio and we said go long term, large cap funds, flexi cap funds, और कुछ नहीं था उसमें. और तभी वो टाइम पे वही फंड्स थे. आपका एक HDFC का जो
Of
आज
course.
it is called flexi cap. That time it was called
Equity.
um,
LGC equity.
no.
I think so.
Yeah, okay, whatever. So
Yeah.
अभी का जो HDFC equity है, DSP के एक दो funds थे. That time those were the fund houses. In 2023 Feb, I get a call from this person. He calls up Parag Parekh, gets my number from them and says, ma'am, I'm due for retirement. I've finished 20 years of doing this SIP. He started doing a SIP of 10,000 rupees. I have not spoken to him, okay, in 20 years. That one plan we made and he was gone.
Yeah.
Okay. And 10,000 rupees, he did SIP for 24 years. That value of that investment,
It would be very massive, yeah.
it was 2.42 crores.
Wow.
Okay. At a 18% CAGR. And this is not even like the best performing top quartile. Aisa kuch nahi tha. They were just steady funds, good quality large cap funds. 2-3 flexi cap. Ek bhi mid cap, small cap, thematic, kuch nahi tha. And it was this moment where I was shocked at, he had much more money than he needed for retirement and he didn't know what to do. Should I redeem it? Should I stop the SIP? He's asking me. I'm like, yeah, you can stop the SIP. And how do you answer something like that? But I was so amazed. So the whole beauty is of an investor being full credit to him. It's not my credit. I just made a plan. But he stayed disciplined. He stayed the track. He stayed long term. So what was it? Time. He just gave it time. He was disciplined. He didn't change that. 2 things you need. That's it.
Yes.
And wealth is created.
No, beautifully said. I think this is a fantastic example of compounding. I mean, at everywhere where we talk about compounding, this should be taught very easily rather than all these.
And it's a live
complications.
case, right? It's a
Absolutely.
live case.
No, definitely. I think as you guys were also saying, sometimes I'm very sure you would love these clients, right? I mean, these are the clients that you wish for.
This is the reason why we are advisors.
And that's the
feel
beauty,
so
right?
happy when you
I
see
mean,
that.
the example that you said that this guy listened to you.
Yeah.
I mean, because he had put in the trust, definitely you felt responsible. At the same time, the person continued the trust with you.
Yeah.
Because वरना वो हो जाता है कि अरे यार मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना भाई थोड़ा तो आता है कर ले भाई मतलब why you want to go like this and I'm very sure you guys must have also seen कि यार I want to fire this client. Sometimes those kind of extremities would have also occurred. Maybe Rahul, if that kind of extremity came to you, or what is your positive story about a client?
I think all of us would have a lot of positive stories. I'll just
Yeah.
add to that. So I think the common theme which kind of runs across all the work that we do, I think is simply the clarity and the confidence which comes in the lives of clients simply by being able to see the full picture, which normally is not shown to them. Because the sad reality is that even today, when people generally talk about financial planning, it's spoken about financial planning is equal to investment. And investment
True, very
is
true.
just a very, very small part of
Yeah.
firstly, a financial plan, and more so a part of his overall life, right?
Yeah.
And yet we keep on stressing about which fund to buy, which stock to buy, and god knows, list is endless. uh, Coming, so the clarity and confidence and how it comes about is probably, at least what I do in my practice with clients, is I show them various scenarios. So we do this stress analysis also, right? What ifs, so as to speak,
Yeah.
right? So what if this were to happen? Because we do not know, we are forecasting 30-40 years into the future, and ultimately, for the lack of anything better, we have to use certain assumptions.
Yeah.
And all those assumptions can go out of the window, right?
Absolutely.
So basically, you try to show that what is possible under different scenarios. Obviously, no one will mind the upside. I think the risk, the downside is what you need to be aware of, that in the worst case kind of a scenario,
Yeah.
what is the possibility? And then you can actually calibrate accordingly. And so
Absolutely.
that's one thing. To share a story that I repeat often in all my things, because it's one of the most fulfilling things for me personally. So I have this client, a C-suite kind of an executive, earning very well, but he was obsessed with a magical retirement number and was just hell bent on that. And then why are you not getting the kind of returns? I'll get there faster, and so on and so forth. So that this was around the time when I was just kind of finishing that kinder program. I thought, why not kind of try this exercise with him. So then the outcome of those doing that exercises with him, among a few other things, what came out was that what he told me was that, Rahul, see, I mean, obviously, I'm in a very high stress kind of a job, have hardly any time to kind of spend with my kid, my family, etc. And in 2-3 years, my daughter will basically go to the UK for her higher studies, right? And probably after that, she'll move on with her life.
Yeah.
And if I just look back, I never even, firstly, did not see her growing up. And in 2-3 years, she'll be gone, right? And I wish that I mean, is it possible that if I were to kind of put down my papers tomorrow, so that kind of gives me that I can at least spend that next 2 to 3 years with her, right? And then we did some calculation, and obviously you'll have to make certain trade-offs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for something that you deeply want for yourself, so you have to kind of give up, right? So if you are budgeting for an X amount of lifestyle expenses and all those fancy vacations and so on and so forth, obviously you kind of understand, and then you also understand the reason why you're doing it, right? So that also kind of gives you the motivation.
Yeah.
So the and what happened is that 6 months down the road, he actually kind of
Wow.
took a voluntary retirement, right? And what also happens, Nikhil, is that we talk about financial independence, retirement, and all of that. Work is a very important aspect of our life. I mean, the whole culture of fire, right? It's, I think, overrated, right? And there are studies also, not in India, I'm not sure about India, but at least outside India, which show that, I mean, there's a sense of, people feeling empty, after they've kind of, achieved this number. So I think that becomes very important. So, and especially for people who worked at that kind of level in leadership kind of roles, they end up kind of, doing something or the other, be it freelancing, consulting, or whatever. So yeah, I think that is one of the most closest stories that I have for you.
I would like to add what Rahul said. So he said that we are there to manage the risk for the clients, and as per us, we play two roles. Uh, People think that we are investment managers, but we are actually investor manager. And second, we are the risk manager, because in good days, people only see the upside. They're not prepared for the bad days. And we are the ones who are actually telling them that if good days are there, bad days will come. And when bad days are there, good days will also come. So making them realize this is very, very important. And that is the key role that we are playing in the life of the clients. So that
No, very beautifully said. I think shifting focus from products to the person or that family or that thing.
Yeah.
And is it why? Because you guys think that this is one of the most important professions or very different kind of a professions?
absolutely.
Because if you look at other professions, including myself, let's say we code ultimately, right?
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
But looking at you guys, and whenever I'm hearing all these stories, it's rather about the customer, it's rather about the investor than, like you said, a fantastic story of just a 10,000 rupees SIP.
Hmm.
I mean, it was not about so many calculations. It was not about kya kya hai, exa error kya hai, so many things, right? Not you just said about that the person felt so good
Yeah.
when he or she, his wife could put a paper.
Yeah.
I think the beautifully what you said is that he just wanted to feel and be with his daughter. It was never about I want to have a jet. It was never about that. And as you, I think, pointed out,
Yeah.
feels like this profession is very special in that way.
Absolutely, because I think this is the only profession where if the client is winning, you're winning. If you look at doctor, when do you go to a doctor?
Yeah.
It's only when you're in pain.
Yeah.
When do you go to a lawyer? It's only when you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not demeaning these professions, but when you are challenged, so there is money made in
Yes.
that profession, right? But this is probably the only profession where if the client is winning in life, you're winning, and of course, you're helping. So you're playing a very integral part in making them understand, which many a times client appreciate.
Absolutely.
I have many examples where people have realized some of their most important goals, which at some point in time that was unachievable for them,
Hmm.
right? Uh, Buying a house, like a client couple just married 3 months came to me and said that they wish to buy a house of their own.
Yeah.
Right? Within 3 years, they could buy the house which was at least 50% above their budget.
Wow.
And today when they look back, obviously
It's a
they
big achievement, yeah.
they tell me that it was only possible because we did the planning and we were focused and we did this.
Yeah.
So there are many such examples
No,
where
but
people
I'll just add one thing here.
Yeah.
There's another difference in what we do versus all these other professions. Doctor के साथ you don't want a permanent relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Lawyer के साथ भी नहीं.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But with your investment advisor
Hmm.
or your financial planner, you have a lifetime of relationship.
Yeah.
And that is very special because you
Absolutely.
get involved in so
Hmm.
many things, so many aspects of a person's life,
Yeah.
which no other profession can touch.
Yeah.
We are literally family. We're literally in their lives.
Yeah.
You know all
And this
my
kind of a
secrets, so-
relationship requires a lot of trust.
Absolutely.
And on the part of us advisors, a lot of fiduciary responsibility. I can tell you one thing for RIAs who are there in the industry. For most people I know, they are very dear friends also in the industry, but they all carry this sense of responsibility so strong. I feel very proud to be associated
Yeah.
with them because they're all people I would trust. I can
Absolutely.
fall back on. I can rely on. So they're typically those kind of people only who become fee-based advisors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this longevity of your relationship with this is a typical profession where you need a advisor for the long term.
Very long.
हम हैं और chartered accountant है.
Please. add
Yeah,
on,
no, so I'll just like to add one thing to that and think. I think, we have voluntarily submitted ourselves
Yes.
to possibly what is one of the most stringent regulations in India,
Yeah.
right? We have institutional level compliance and regulation for individual advisors, right?
Absolutely.
So I think while it's easy to talk about being a fiduciary, but for us, fiduciary is a legal responsibility. I think that is also what kind of distinguishes.
No, I think as you both rightly said, it is a fiduciary responsibility and a trust. I think both go hand in hand. But just a slightly coming from being a devil's advocate here, do you guys feel the burden of it sometimes? And at that point, do you guys feel कि यार I want to fire this customer यार, too many secrets हो गया या फिर सुन नहीं रहा यार मेरा मतलब does this
Firing
happen?
clients ऐसा बहुत मन में आता है, बहुत
Oh,
आता है.
अच्छा आता है.
I've done that.
Okay.
And we have
Acha.
done that. Yes, you're
Any-
right.
I've
We
done
have
that.
to.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because sorry, I'll just say this. I said in the beginning, not all clients can be fiduciary
Yeah.
clients. Sometimes client behavior is erratic. They do not listen.
Oh.
They do not. They have a very very short term outlook to their life. Irresponsible behavior by clients is not uncommon.
Yeah.
I have seen an investor who has given me a very small, I mean, I do entire portfolios. I don't do piecemeal. So for me, the one criteria is that I'll handle everything. I don't want to see your mutual fund portfolio and not know what you're doing on the side with your stocks and your fixed deposits or whatever. So give me the whole picture. This is my first ask. There is this investor who went about doing stock trading, lost a lot of money. It was really heartbreaking for me because we were doing so well on this side. On his mutual fund portfolio, we were just amazingly performing. And this guy went and lost so much money that we had to redeem from our portfolio, the core portfolio. Now I know the family. Now, like I said, I'm invested in them. And for me, this turned out to be a very bad investment. So, so this can happen. I didn't fire the client, and they needed me the most at that time. So, but I'm just saying, but clients can be irresponsible. And sometimes it just hurts a lot as an advisor. We just don't know how to. But there are clients who will come up and say, oh, आपका fees बहुत ज़्यादा है, हम नहीं afford कर सकते हैं. भैया आपने आपका portfolio देखिए. So that, the gains in the portfolio is the clients. The fees are mine, and that's an expense. This is an unfortunate Indian mentality of not being able to recognize a professional's contribution and recognizing professional skills and paying for it. We even crib when we go to the doctor, na? यार 2 मिनट देखा मेरे को 1,000 rupees का लगा दिया यार, 2 मिनट भी नहीं देखा मुझे. We do that. We also crib, right? We crib about the costs of paying a lawyer. We do crib about paying professionals. So there is an Indian mentality, and it is sometimes hard for us, but we do need to say goodbye to some clients who are defaulters. Repeat defaulters.
The irrational behavior. Maybe you were also telling something.
So basically, see, it's not Indians. It's actually the world over. People are price conscious and not value conscious, right? Because it has not been taught how to value things.
It's very difficult,
right? So relationship, an advisor and client relationship is very, very important. In fact, if you get the right advisor, he actually has the power to make or break your financial life. Absolutely. And like I said in one of my previous interaction with you, an advisor or a client, if they manage their finances well, 90% of the problems in their lives are solved. So if you want to partner with someone, you don't want to bargain with them on the fees and the cost, because of course there is a value. I mean, you have a Supreme Court lawyer charging a 10 lakh rupees per hearing. He may have something in him, right?
Absolutely.
As compared to someone who is sitting outside a notary doing notary. Of course. So with experience, the advisor knows what not to do.
And that's very important.
That is very important. Everyone will tell you what to do, but an advisor can tell you what not to do, and that can save the client a lot. Absolutely. So that is very important. And sometimes the client does not appreciate that. And like Kavita said, they become price conscious and they don't look at the value. And when they start having discussions on that rather than looking at the other aspects, that's when you feel, I mean, at least personally, I start feeling a little sad, irritated, and that affects my mindset. And whenever I see that happening, I generally take a call to exit that client. I've done that in the past. Because I don't want my mindset to get impacted because there's one client and have that impact on my other 99 clients who are good.
Absolutely.
Who listen to me, who do not crib.
Yeah.
So I've done those exits and that has got a lot of peace of mind with me. And there have been also clients examples where I've done the exits. The client has realized the mistake. After a few years, he still wants to work with me and not want to compromise. I mean, not want to discuss on the fee part and the other things.
No, it's a fantastic, I think, testimonial that client is coming. And maybe Rahul, if you have such incidents, but more to touch base on, do you feel the emotional burden side of it? I mean, definitely both of you talked about that there might be irrational behavior where client is not listening, or there is a fee structure misalignment, the value misalignment, I mean, rather than a fee structure. But I'm very sure that there is a lot of secrets that these clients are telling you. I mean, there are a lot of details about their personal lives that they are sharing with you. So have you come across any such client where you felt burdened? Maybe you wouldn't have fired them, but you felt burdened. अरे यार इसका तो life मेरे को ही ज़्यादा पता है मतलब, and all of those things, because you go deeply emotionally also with them. So what has been your experience in that?
So I don't think that has been a reason for me firing a client. I mean, because that's essentially what I do, right? I mean, I would
Yeah.
want them to kind of open up so that I can help them. So I don't think that has been a reason. I think the instances while Vineet was also sharing, Kavita was also speaking. So I was just thinking back to the time. So I think the most recent client I myself kind of requested that probably we should terminate the agreement was because the client was not at all proactive, right? Uh, not participating, not responding to any of the let's say the assignments or whatever, right? So in the absence of that, I mean, how do I actually operate? So I said, I mean, we first kind of if there's anything on your mind, let's discuss it, right? And otherwise, I don't think the current way is working. I don't think I'm being able to deliver value. I think a part of being a fiduciary also involves that. I mean, if you are not falling short on any aspect, right, or maybe the client has certain expectations which you are not able to fulfill. Maybe he's return conscious, and I'm not that kind of person, right? So, I mean, it's best to let go. I think it just chokes your bandwidth at the end of the day. I just want to make a small point regarding the DIY category. I mean, which just kind of occurred to me right now. So there's a doctor who kind of came down to meet me on the reference of someone last week, and during the course of the discussion, obviously the thing moved to that. I've been seeing these reels about how you can save X amount of lakhs or crores by going direct. So I said, sir, you're a doctor, and tomorrow if you're in a problem, would you trust someone, or would you rather opt on yourself by watching a YouTube video, right? Or would you kind of use Chat GPT and do it for you? And by that logic, I mean, you can service your own car. Why do you pay?
Yeah.
You can do your household stuff yourself. Why do you hire a maid? Right? So you value what is important to you. If you feel you can manage everything on your own and want to spend doing that instead of doing more meaningful things, please go ahead and do it. Right?
Absolutely.
A
So,
client actually asked me, you spend half an hour with me in 3 months, once in 3 months. So little time. Why are you taking so much? And my simple answer was, I can spend half an hour with you and get results because I've spent years doing this.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I have put effort in educating myself, getting the qualifications right, getting the certifications required, getting registered with a regulator.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then there is years of experience. In half an hour, I can tell you what has to be done and what cannot be done. It's because I'm experienced.
Absolutely.
And it's for those 25 years of accumulated knowledge in
Yeah.
my head that you're paying me for. And I told him that maybe I should increase your fees.
And you're also telling them the truth, right?
Yeah,
Which,
absolutely. Yes.
I mean, you're showing them the mirror
Yes.
that what's happening.
It's like the analogy of the doctor. No? He sees you for 1 minute and he can just tell you, this is what I need you to do.
Correct.
It's because he's got so many years of experience. And that's
Exactly. In any profession, the more experienced you are, the more you'll command value, because, of course, you don't want to work with too many people.
Yes.
After a certain point in
Imagine
time.
going to a doctor and saying, यार एक ही घंटे का ऑपरेशन है, हार्ट का सर्जरी एक ही घंटे में तो खत्म कर रहे हो, तो यार क्या 10 लाख किसके लिए ले रहे हो? So just imagine, थोड़ा कम करो, थोड़ा 4 लाख भी कर दो. I mean, who talks to doctors that way? Like, we don't do that.
On your point, so there was this story or whatever that in a factory, I mean, there was some machine which is not functioning, right? And they had to call someone, and he just came, just hit something with a hammer. And in 5 seconds.
Yes, I know.
Actually,
yes.
in an old Indian movie, there is a scene about this. Yeah.
I'm not
so
aware of this.
You know, Rajesh Khanna ka movie tha, wherein they get Rajesh Khanna to do the same thing, and he just puts a hatoda, and he asks, "अरे यार 5,000 किस चीज का?" तो बोलता है, "सर 5,000 हथौड़े का नहीं है, वो तो कहाँ हथौड़ा मारना है, कितना मारना है, उसका 5,000 रुपए."
Exactly.
And that's what you guys are doing. Yeah, I mean, fabulously put. I think moving on to, we discussed a lot about what you do, how it is helpful for clients. But I think overall, we all know that the numbers of RIAs especially are slightly lesser than what is required to service the 6 crore or even the more Indian populace. But I'm very sure in that one of the organizations that you are all part of, and I think from RIA standpoint, can you shed some light in terms of what RIA does to, I would say, educate more about this, as well as to help RIAs to get into more focus areas?
So the primary purpose that we formed the Association of Registered Investment Advisors, was to bring together a combined force to not just spread awareness about advisors, but it was also primarily to bargain with external stakeholders like the regulator. Primarily because there was no face to the RIA. We are mostly individuals, small entities,
Yeah.
small outfits compared to the rest of the capital markets. We are running small boutique firms, right?
Yes.
So we needed a combined phase with which we could speak to the regulator, make create awareness about the profession, because even today, while the number of advisors are less, there is also equally, we can say, there is very little awareness about the fiduciary profession also. And as a country, we are so used to hearing from brokers. Everybody's an advisor in our country, no? Right from the guy who sells insurance policies to the fellow sitting in the bank, to so everybody becomes an advisor in
Yeah.
India. So it's very hard to distinguish what is a registered and a entity who is qualified
Qualified.
to dispense investment advice. So Arya does a lot of events. We have an advocacy team which focuses on. We talk to various government departments, particularly the regulator,
Mm.
to make ease of business possible for investment advisors. We're bringing two people together, so it's a community. It's a very strong community also. We have programs for training, industry knowledge, so that's being dispensed. We have partnerships with various AMCs, etc., who from whom we do a lot of programs with them. So primarily, in fact, when you were talking about clients,
Yeah.
stories,
Mm.
I would encourage you to just check the LinkedIn profile of Arya.
Mm.
We have some amazing client testimonials put in there on
Surely. Yeah.
how planning and
Mm.
a planner has changed lives for investors,
Yeah.
and very heart touching stories. Okay, you must hear them. So
Definitely.
while Vineet and Rahul both have given you some stories,
Yeah.
वहाँ पे तो पूरा खजाना है
Library.
आपके पास.
Yes.
So so many beautiful stories coming out, and it's so heartwarming, because that what a planner can do to somebody's life. From people saying that I could retire early,
Hmm.
to I know that I'm okay. I can sleep well at night.
Wow.
I'm taken care of. I have my goals in mind, and I know how to
Clarity hai.
achieve them. I'm sorted in my head, and my investments are sorted. So many things that people have spoken
Definitely.
for pro planning.
Yeah.
So we didn't want it to make it a planner specific thing, but more from a planning perspective,
Yeah.
but very heartwarming stories. So Arya does a lot of these things also.
Okay,
We try
sure.
to bring in social media awareness about the association, about the advisory profession.
No, definitely. I think what we will also do is we will take out those stories, maybe publish it. We'll do
I'll be
collab
very happy if we could
also.
do that.
Definitely,
Yes.
whatever we can help to spread that news about overall financial planning. So we are moving towards the last segment where I think we'll touch base on how-to parts of all of these things. I mean, as we said, that ARIA does a lot of things for RIAs in terms of helping them and helping the financial planning to progress forward in the entire community, India especially. But I would say, would love to understand from you guys also that there are two facets to it. How we see it, we see that individual RIAs or the corporate RIAs scaling their practices so that they reach more and more consumers. And then the second facet is definitely that how can we bring more RIAs into the profession? How can we enable them to get to this practice? Of course, I'm very sure there would be some consumer side that you would like, that how an awareness can happen in that. And maybe these two aspects we would love to elaborate with you, and maybe you can start. And I think open to forum that how we believe can be done to focus and get to more customers and more RIAs. Yeah.
Sure. So the typical challenge that we face as an advisory firm is because it's a very personalized one-to-one kind of a service. Time is the only commodity that we have, which is limited, of course. And the second challenge is getting good quality people, qualified people into this profession,
Hmm.
which many a times is very difficult to get. Even if you get people, they're not very serious. They're not very long-term vision oriented. So these are the two challenges. So when we want to work with masses, you need to solve for these two challenges: getting qualified advice and also ensuring that the person you are spending some time with the person and talking beyond investments as well, if you want to see the true result of this entire engagement. And that, to my mind, technology would help in a certain way, but again, there has to be a human angle to it. So something which we call it as a bionic advisor. It's going to be a combination of tech plus human.
Hmm.
This is needed if you want to scale up. So that's the struggle that is currently there. But I think with the way technology is coming up in the next 5-10 years, firms like ours will be able to touch upon a lot of clients even at the starting stage, because
Yeah.
I feel that if you nurture client at the starting stage, they are going to be the big clients of you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, for smaller firms, it is important that they are also sustainable,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So that's the model that RIs need to figure out, how to be profitable at the same time able to make a difference in the lives of the initial people. Second, there needs to be more people who should choose this profession rather than being product centric. They should be more advice centric. Many people want to do that. Many people, I'm not saying that all the people who are in this industry who are not RAs are not doing a good job. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are people who do wonderful job not having license. They are handholding clients, they are helping them beyond investments, many other things. But the only worry that they have is of regulation,
Oh.
right? And I think SEBI is doing a lot of things of late where they're trying to make the entry barriers low. They are trying to help people come. ARIA as a organization is also helping burst a lot of myths around regulations.
Yeah.
So when that starts yielding results, which I think should happen, when more and more people come in, that's when I think it will be beneficial for the larger population. And it cannot happen definitely with 500, 600 of us.
Yeah.
There has to be
Lot
thousands
more.
and probably lakhs of advisors who can cater to the blooming middle class and the affluent class. And
Yeah.
that number, I think, it's going to be at least 10x in the next 10 years. Right? So
Sure.
you need 100x people like us coming to the profession and thinking holistically and giving advice holistically.
Absolutely, I think that's wonderfully said, that you have to grow. Matlab, as a number, also you have to grow, and maybe as an individual, with the help of technology or with the help of processes, maybe you can grow and do that as a wealth advisory firm also. But I think, Kavita, you are sitting on the area, so you know this insider out also. So any special thing on this, that how an RIA can grow themselves? I think trying to go towards some masses, because as he rightly pointed out, India is kind of ballooning at the middle. We are already seeing that thing, that middle class is rising. You are having a lot of divide, but this middle class is more susceptible.
Yeah.
Because they have some wealth, at the same time they have access to all these digital tools where a lot of information, lot of chaos. So how do you think that one can address to this population, and one can also increase the RI numbers?
So you're talking about scaling to an advisor who has not scaled yet. So I will not be the right person to talk about how to scale the RIA business. I have stuck to being a boutique advisor, and I love doing that. I don't want to make it a very mass kind of profession. So I'll skip that one.
Okay.
But for the second part, there are two parts to it. One which ARIA is doing, and one which we are requesting the regulator to do. So I'll address both. The first part that ARIA is doing is we run something called as RIA clinics for MFDs, for aspiring advisors. I would strongly recommend anybody who's wanting to become an advisor to please follow us on the ARIA page and attend these clinics. These clinics not only handhold you with regulations, with also to how to set up the practice. You get in touch with actual practitioners, and you will get the complete package of how to start. We also do a lot of assistance in terms of applications and then following ups also. So we are very helpful as a community. Please do attend one of the clinics so that you have an idea. Having said this is of course for the reach, and like when it's said, I know a lot of mutual fund distributors who want, or CFP, certified financial planners, who want to get registered, but they are holding back because they are afraid that they will not be able to cope with regulation. Which brings us to part two, which is our advocacy efforts with the regulator. So right on the onset, I just want to tell you that we have a regulator who's listening. and they are very keen to make it easy for us to run our businesses. So that has really changed a lot of things in the last few years.
Yeah.
They actually want the RIA community to grow, and we are getting a lot of support from them. So couple of things that a lot of what we asked for they've already given,
Yeah.
in terms of these repeat exams of NISIM etc. We completely
Absolutely. Yeah.
stopped that, and now we just have something called as we can just give one XC exam, which is very
Yes.
simple. They have reduced the entry barriers.
Hmm.
So there are many things. Some very large regulations they have exempt us from
Exempted.
it.
Hmm.
So ease of business is there on their minds
Yeah.
also.
Sure.
So this is a good, very big positive. What we really want also is graded compliance.
Hmm.
It's very hard for individuals or young advisors or just startup advisors to have compliance that is institutional level.
Hmm.
Okay, we can't be doing the same thing that your NSDL is doing or Zerodha is doing,
Yeah.
right? But we are put up in the same bracket as they are.
Hmm.
And that is where the force of compliance pushes the advisory business.
Hmm.
So we have sorted. It's not that they are not considering it, they understand. So putting RIAs and RAs, who are mostly individuals, in the category of registered entities, is not going to yield results. We
Hmm.
are going to see problems because people are not able to then
Yeah.
come into the system even if they want to. So ease of business ke liye graded compliance would mean that we would be out of many of the harder regulations.
Yeah.
I'll not get into the details of that because that'll be very
Yeah.
boring
Yeah.
to your audience, but there are many of them which SEBI is actively considering.
Hmm.
So fingers crossed as we go. I'm sure we'll hear more from the compliance front, and ease of business will
Ease of-
happen.
No, I think definitely. I mean, as you touch base upon that, and it might happen that as you have a graded compliance or slightly a differentiated compliance for different
Yes,
categories of
yes,
the people, there will be more, I think, willingness to accept this,
yes.
willingness to come into this, and that might open up newer frontiers. I mean, we might not know. Somebody might figure out a forward model that how can they serve somebody even at a 2,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees using technology or some way. Definitely. I think moving on to Rahul, you graded compliance is one aspect, but how do you see this? And you being an RIA, maybe wanting to go to the masses, or definitely what you call as how can you increase your fellow members in the RIA community?
Okay. So I think the first thing one needs to understand, I mean, if you look at from a client point of view,
Hmm.
from a client point of view, does not understand what an RIA is. There is no distinction, as Kavita said, right? I mean, everyone calls themselves an advisor, and clients have zero idea, right? So I think there's a great amount of awareness that needs to actually kind of come in, and RIA obviously is doing trying to do the best they can, and but I think there also has to be a regulatory push, right, wherein this is put out there, right? I mean, just one circular here, one notice here is not going to do it. I think I don't know if this is compliant and this is what we have to do as an RIA. AMFI did a wonderful job with the MF Sahi hai, right? That's what I said.
Yes, yes.
So I think, and I think they also say advisor zaruri or something, right? So I think that's what it's
Okay.
important that kind of awareness needs to be created. I think in the Western countries, a financial planner, the kind of respect that they command
Yeah,
is almost at par with any other professional, right?
absolutely.
I mean, I remember seeing some movie, and the person was kind of going through some trouble. He said, "Let me call my financial planner," right? I think we are obviously far away from that in India, but I think that awareness needs to come up. The respect for the profession, I think that also has to be seen by the client, and which will also solve some problems in terms of the fee side of things, wherein people do understand and respect the value of the advice that they're getting, and are willing to pay for it, right? Coming to the scaling side of things, and I think once this happens, then probably it will draw more people into the profession, with the compliance burdens also kind of coming down. From a scaling point of view, I mean, until now, even I was a boutique practice, but I think as I'm growing old, I'm just thinking that okay, I mean, let me try and mentor a few more advisors under me, and the only way I think I can do that and achieve a certain scale is by using technology. I think we've spoken about this enough. You know how passionate I'm about technology,
Yeah.
right? So I think as he mentioned about the bionic advisor. So I think the idea should be that I mean the technology does everything for you. Whatever can be automated is automated, right, in terms of the report, etc. And the only face time that you have with clients is actually in the more important discussions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that will obviously free up a lot of time, which currently kind of goes into compliance and XYZ, right? So I think that would definitely help. So technology, yes, would definitely be of immense help in scaling up.
No, I think you are rightly said, and to be very honest, we also do see a larger technological play even in compliances.
Yeah.
Because I think even if there is an institutional grade kind of a compliance, but if it is automated,
Yeah.
you have that from day one, you have that from client one, and you are not worried about it.
Yeah.
I mean, what I do see is that when clients like us are worried about our financial life, you are more worried about compliances. So
We're worried about both, actually.
yeah, absolutely.
Worried about both because
Definitely, yeah.
What rightly Mrs. Madhvi Puri Butch, who is the ex chairperson of SEBI, said that compliance should happen at the back end. You should not be worrying about it. It should happen.
Yeah, it should just happen.
And that can only happen through technology and following certain processes.
Yeah,
And I think when that issue is resolved or taken care, I think we would see many people then jumping and getting into this profession. And the second is the mindset of paying. And again, what I feel is a lot of people in India, advisors, so-called advisors, they themselves do not have the conviction. How do I ask? For what do I ask? What value will I be able to give?
Yeah.
So when they have that inhibition or that uncertainty in their own mind, they will not be able to go and talk to the client that you have to pay fee for this, which is intangible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is intangible. You're not selling a product, you're selling an advice, which sometimes may take years to show you results. That because of this advice, this is what the outcome is. It may not show up immediately, right? So that conviction has to come in the advisor's mind first, and then they can actually go and source clients. And then clients, let me tell you, with my 10 years of experience, clients are more than willing to pay fees.
Absolutely.
We have had exits of clients who said that now I can manage on my own because I'm not. I'm seeing the prices going up, but I can also vouch for the remaining 90-95% of the clients who are still continuing because they value the service, they value the advice, so they are willing to pay. It's just that there has to be someone who can show them that value and someone who can guide them, and there is a cost. That is something that you need to make them clear that if you don't pay, then you will see that what will be the consequence of not paying and going for free advice.
Vineet, that's exactly what I said, that the client has to have that mindset that he is willing to pay for the value. There are clients who won't have that mindset, who would want to measure you by just one metrics.
Agreed.
Returns kitna aayega.
Agreed.
I have had meetings where I've gotten up and I said we can't work together because clients have said that is a single metric. When I ask them what are the expectations from the engagement, they'll say, "Aap bas 18-20% de do."
Because clients also have not been taught to ask the right questions. That's the problem. I feel the problem is even clients don't know what they want.
Exactly.
They have not been taught what to ask to the advisors, how to find the right advisor.
But they also, so there is a lot of confusion also, Vineet. It's not the client's fault. Now, this person I went to meet in a production house, he heads a production house. He met me with his finance manager. Okay. And then we discussed and I asked him for expectation. And then the first thing he said is that I would want you to deliver returns. So I said, I offer a service in which returns is not in my hands. It's about the asset allocation we choose. He's saying, I invested 50 lakhs with this for a PMS and now my finance manager sits and he manages 5 crores. He just replicates that portfolio of the fund manager, of the PMS guy. He replicates it and manages it here. So we are saving all the fees.
But with what conviction?
Hold on. A person who can do that, cannot pay an advisor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You are ready to cheat a fund manager of his, what is due to him by doing this piggyback investing.
Ethical breach. I mean,
yes. So somebody who can be unethical there cannot be ethical with me. To expect that would be wrong, right? So that's when I got up and I said, okay, I understand, but I can't deliver it. So we can't work together.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Right? And I know what happened to that particular PMS, which didn't perform for the next 3 years. And also, I'm sure his
I think I know what you're talking
also,
about.
Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you. So, yes. But if he had spoken to me and hired me, I would have saved him that loss for the next 3 years, his opportunity
Right,
cost.
right.
It's like saying that na, that in the exam, if you copy, you should know at least who's to
Who's
copy.
to copy? Correct.
Yeah.
Because if you're copying and if you don't know what that person is even writing, you're just copying blind. And the moment he also fails the exam, you are definitely going to fail the exam. And that's what I think is happening with, unfortunately, whether you call it a finfluencers or whether you call it the tippers.
Yeah.
I mean, there are different names, but it is the same philosophy that I'm going to follow someone without actually understanding what they are delivering or what they are doing.
They're not accountable to you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
was
I mean,
about
what
to say
is
that.
They
there?
don't. They can say what they like.
Absolutely. And
What is the accountability?
accountability, and what is them to gain if you make money, if you don't make money?
Yeah,
What they need is more eyeballs.
Yeah.
Because that is going to make them money, right? And if you say something controversial, something bad, something sensational, that's what sells.
There's one famous influencer who very famously about 2 weeks back suggested that sell everything and put 50% in gold and 50% in silver and some garbage like that. And all clients panicked because the crash is imminent. It's
Imminent.
going to happen. He was so sure. He is very articulate and he is very confident. With kahan se aata hai confidence, I don't know. But anyway, so I panicking clients calling me, everything is going to crash. I said, really? Okay. So if this guy is saying this, in another 3 days, gold fell down. I was like, you've taken his advice. You don't know where you would be headed with gold and silver.
Even silver crashed, I think.
Of course it
all
did.
of those things would happen. Yeah.
But it's the confidence with which they can dispense advice.
Yeah.
So my simple thing to my clients is that these are actors. They are supposed to act. They are a show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you are their viewers. उनको सिर्फ ताली चाहिए.
Yes.
Okay, उनको सिर्फ ताली दो. उनसे advice मत लो.
Advice mat lo.
And it's a period of irrational exuberance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in times of irrational exuberance, you need someone to give you a reality check.
To keep you grounded.
Absolutely.
At times. Absolutely.
And tell you what not to do. Not to be flown with the emotions.
So he had an expectation of 30% return.
I've heard that.
It's a very peculiar case, okay? His son works in the US. I wrote a LinkedIn post on this as well. His son works in the US. He's doing an SIP of 1.5 lakh rupees a month. And the plan is to do it for 10 years. With the idea that whatever is happening in the US, etc. So plan is to relocate to India after 10 years. So the target corpus is 10 crore rupees. Right? तो मैंने पहले तो कैलकुलेट किया 1.5 लाख के हिसाब से. हाँ, सो ये बेसिकली केम विद द ऑब्जेक्टिव कि मुझे पीएमएस करना है. मैं बोला क्यों करना है? बोला 30% फॉर हायर रिटर्न्स. मतलब बेटा बोल रहा है कि एकदम अग्रेसिव जाना है तो वो पीएमएस करेंगे. बोला ठीक है. मैं बोला 30% रिटर्न इज अ वेरी वेरी फार फेच थिंग, राइट? आई मीन इफ यू टॉक अबाउट इक्विटी 10 to 12% इज व्हाट आई वुड से. ऊपर का आया तो आपका है. But realistically speaking, when you're forecasting for the future, I mean, I would not. नहीं क्यों नहीं आएगा? सबने तो दिया है. 5 साल में इतने सारे PMS है.
वॉरेन बफेट ने नहीं दिया.
तो बोला स्मॉल कैप में, मिड कैप में डाल दो, सब कुछ ठीक है. But he was just not ready to buy it. The funnier thing is कि the corpus he has 25 लाख रुपया उसने अभी तक accumulate किया है by SIPs. His son has another 25 lakh rupees. पूरा 50 लाख रुपया कंसोलिडेट करके उसको एक सिंगल पीएमएस में डालना है.
अरे बाप, दिस इज द बिगेस्ट रिस्क आई थिंक. मतलब
राइट, रिस्क है तो इश्क है.
तो मैंने बोला कि तो वही बात हो गया.
कंफ्यूज दैट ना कि रिस्क ज्यादा लिया तो रिटर्न ज्यादा मिलेगा. बट दे नेवर क्वांटिफाई द करेक्शन. सो रिस्क आल्सो मींस दैट पॉजिटिव 30 एंड नेगेटिव 30. वो नेगेटिव 30 को वो लोग को दिखता नहीं है. इट इज नेवर विजिबल.
फटका नहीं खाया वो.
It's never visible.
So मैंने ये बोला उसको कि ये तो वही बात हो गई कि आप क्रिकेट में खाली एक बैट्समैन लेके चल रहे हो. चला तो सही है, नहीं तो खत्म. अच्छा, the second thing is if you calculate the CAGR which is MFD has assumed is 28%. 1.5 लाख for 10 years, monthly for 10 years. कितना हो गया? कर लो साहब.
नहीं, 1 करोड़ 80 लाख रुपए डाल रहे हैं.
हाँ,
10 साल में.
हाँ, 10 करोड़ रुपया हो रहा है.
हाँ, तो 28 मतलब 15% पे आपका 4 times हो जाता है 10 साल में. तो ये 28 पे probably
4 times if you put everything in one go.
Yeah, one go, exactly.
हाँ, ठीक है. सिर्फ में
this is working on 28%.
प्रॉब्लम है.
It's working on 28%.
तो 10x हो गया.
हाँ. So then, I try to explain to my. So there's a line I always say, right? I mean, your 100 will become 50 before it becomes 200.
Yeah.
So are you prepared for that?
Prepared for that.
I mean, what happens if tomorrow the PMS crashes and just does not recover? It has happened in the past, right? I mean,
It will happen.
It happened to the best of them.
best of names. So वही है. So obviously I was
कोई
very
answer
disappointed. तो मैं बोला आपको क्यों चाहिए, मतलब what is the objective? I think it's more important. उसने पूछा कि क्या करना चाहिए. I'm like, it is more important that why do you need that kind, because what is the end goal, right? तो उसको बोला उसको यहाँ पर जब आएगा तो he'll need a house to stay. तो उसके लिए मतलब कितना है, तो आई थिंक लेट्स टेक एट रियलिस्टिक नंबर्स को मैंने 10% पे दिखाया, 12% दिखाया, फिर उसने खुद बोला इसको मैं 2.5 लाख रुपया कर दूं तो SIP को, राइट? तो he ends up at 6 crore odd asset. So I think that's still a realistic number to kind of consider. So ठीक है, I mean, if you are targeting a 3 crore house today, probably that is with inflation that will likely be the cost, right?
MFD is mis-selling this at this percent is still okay. What investors do when they go meet friends at parties on 2 drinks, okay, that is the worst thing they do. One client, sensible fellow, years of investment experience, already lost money in 2 PMSs, comes and says, I have to do PMS, I have to take high risk because I'm retiring now and I need a lot of money. I said, what is the relation of PMS with high risk and high returns? You've already had an experience. Saying, no, this friend of mine says that you have to go aggressive. So that will happen in a PMS. And so
absolutely.
this is like suddenly, you've just in a night's party, you have completely changed
your
your learning of the last decade.
How you look at things, you have just changed it.
That's what even psychology.
No, so it's in 2 minutes I changed it back.
That's the beauty of it. If that can change over a drink, it can maybe change over a call
right.
also.
But they get these ideas in meetings, parties. प्राइवेट इक्विटी में करो, ये 100 गुना हो जाएगा, क्रिप्टो करेंसीज में करो, क्या किया आपने, क्रिप्टो नहीं किया, बिटकॉइन नहीं किया आपने.
I think I mean as we always say that personal finance is very personal. I mean, we always forget that first word because it always becomes about a product and the finance bit, but in at least today's conversation we at least touch base upon that it is more about personal. Let keep aside the finance bit will take care if we actually touch base upon the personalization. And I think this is a fantastic note to maybe conclude this, but thanks a lot for all three of you to be here spending time with us. And maybe this kind of a compass, again we are calling this compass because it should act like a guiding light again for everyone. Don't take this as a financial advice. We are not telling you to buy anything, sell you anything. Please consult these financial advisors. They are fantastic in their jobs. And thanks once again for being here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Nikhil, for having me.
Thank you, Nikhil.